Hello, podcast listeners and viewers. Thank you very much for joining in another episode of Sloss and Humphries on the road. As always, we do appreciate your support and your incredibly low standards for some of the banter that we pass off as humour. Believe it or not, we are successful comedians. In this week's episode, we speak about road rage and all our different types of road rage. But we try to be less positive towards it. I think there's actually some really good self-reflection on toxic masculinity in here and about how we could better ourselves, but that is sandwiched in the middle of toxic masculinity. So it's kind of like putting the cure for cancer in a tumour in a way. Let's see who wins. We discussed heaps of other shit on the podcast as we always do, but we're now I don't know, it feels less dead air. Your dad jokes are back. It's a good episode. They're all in there. I remember, as always, if you like this shit, share us on socials. We're sharing stuff on Instagram now and Reels. If you want to share that stuff, it will help more people come to the podcast, and then we'll neglect you further. You can come up to us at shows and be like, I'm an OG, and we'll be like, hey, you do have some respect, but we're making bank now. So just help us become cooler to you thanks to our success. Sloss and Humphries on the road.
Muggins and cream and Muggins, straight thuggin', living the dream.
And that's our intro.
Fucking muggles.
Tickling the clit inside your head to make.
Hello.
Have you been enjoying the summer? Is that how we're going to start? I was about to dive in. Gan, have you been enjoying the nice weather?
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, guys, I've had an epiphany. Hello.
Yeah. Well, I thought I was going to explain a bunch of things at the top, and then I was like, the worst place to do, and here's all the technical updates is probably at the end.
Oh, actually, we've got a live podcast at the Fringe.
Uh-huh.
And Marlena's like, could you plug it at the beginning when people are still listening? I was like, are you seeing people tune out from our banter?
I think they do towards the end, because we do say goodbye and then continue for a further 2 to 10 minutes.
That's why it was good to have the dad jokes, because people hang around for the dad jokes. Well, guess what, motherfuckers?
They're back.
Did you rate yours?
I did.
Yeah, sweet, because he went for a shit, and I was like, we might as well rate dad jokes. So back to the point. Are you enjoying your Scottish summer? It's like fucking marvelous out there.
It really is. We went down to Portobello Beach in Edinburgh, which is the name of a place which doesn't sound like it belongs in Edinburgh.
That sounds way more exotic than it usually is, but for the last 2 days, Portobello.
I'm off to Portobello. It's just every time we go down there, on the beach, you smell weed, and you're just like, right. So this is the fun part.
Is it where Portobello mushrooms are from?
No, I don't know that for certain, but definitely not.
Probably not. Is that not where you get your Leith courgettes?
No, there's.
Your Morningside potatoes. That does sound right.
Morningside potatoes.
Morningside potatoes does sound right.
It's a decent beach, so we took Caelan down there because it was hot, and we're like, we'll let you feel sand for the first time.
Has he been to the beach before?
No, it was his first time.
Did people come and start putting wet towels on him now, like the fat cunt?
Just a wee beached whale. People just kept trying to throw him back in. He can't swim yet. He's been practicing. He's not beyond the stage, but you realise how obviously babies are stupid. That's not groundbreaking information.
Especially this one.
But in their first 3-4 months of life, their number one form of discovery is mouth. Everything's what's this? I'll put it in my mouth, and that's how I find out what it is. Because I guess maybe that's...
Is that the oral phase and then the anal phase? Is this all Freudian linked as like you get stuck in a phase?
What is the anal phase of babies?
Anal. Like everything's obsessed with pooping and pooing.
Right,
jokes.
right. So my confusion
like anal
is I
retention.
said the mouth phase is when they discover things through their mouth. So
your mind is in the gutter, Daniel.
The anal phase.
You sexualised your 4-month-old child.
You were suggesting that the way my son discovers things at some point will be like, well, I guess I'll shove it up my ass and see what. Yeah, that's a dice. Yeah, that's 2 of them.
20-sided.
No, so he's discovering everything, which is obviously a danger, which is why you don't let them near things, because they go, what's this thing? I'll put it in my mouth, and it's an electrical cable, and they die, or it's a knife, and they just ram it in their face. But there is now, he's learned, he knows what his hands are, and he knows what his feet are. Now, his feet are nothing other than just, let's also put this in my mouth.
It's something else to discover.
Aye.
It's not a tool of discovery.
But if you put his tiny little stupid feet in grass or sand. He touches it with his feet, and you can just see him like not understanding what's going on because his hand feels air and his mouth feels nothing.
He's getting a new memo from a different source.
A new source. And it's just the only thing you can see going on in the mind is you want there to be some sort of like, oh my God, he's learning that this is the beach and he's enjoying being relaxing. Whereas what's actually going on is just like, how do I get a handful of that and shove it directly in my fucking mouth?
Let him find out the hard way like that.
Well, I mean, that's what Cara was obviously with that.
They cover in suntan lotion and all. It's fucking rank.
Well,
he's like, how's this a nice day out for me?
You put sunscreen on his feet and then you put him in the sand and he puts his feet in the sand and then you put him down and you have your sandwich and you turn around and he's just sucking sand off of his toes and you're like, well,
if that's what you want, mate.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I guess you'll learn that sand. I wonder if he'll have sandy shit.
Oh, will it come at the other end?
Or is it so small that those are obviously pebbles? If you do a pebble, comes out the other end, but is sand so small that it's enough for the stomach to digest, or is it just going to be?
When will we find out? What's the? Hey, do you know what the rotation is on eat the shit?
No, we can't because it's not. It just all comes out.
Let's go and feed him a penny.
Well,
let's just feed him a penny now. We'll start a stopwatch.
Did you not hear about our bar crawl the other week?
I was away. I was on holiday. I was hoping you'd fill us in on the podcast.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're too busy talking about me.
Yeah.
So go on. Now's your time.
So obviously during the lockdowns, we decided to start doing bar crawls, which was each member of the house would have a room, and you'd have an hour for it to be your bar. It could be of any theme, has to involve a drink of some sort, can involve a game, and at least one of them has to involve food, just because we learned very early doors that if one of these doesn't involve food, you just end up blackout drunk.
That's so much fun, but often you never reach the last bar. You
never made your bar on the last bar crawl.
Everyone was dead.
You were dead. You were the one that went to bed.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not having that. You put Cara to bed.
I've put Cara to bed on many a bar crawl.
But I was awake to see that.
Yeah, but your bar still needed to take place. Anyway, both of yous tapped out heinous amounts. So we did a bar crawl last week, and the first one was Eric and Jean. It was their first one. They've been following it on the socials, so they were excited to do their one. And they did a really good one, which was a blind restaurant sort of thing, like those
blind tasting. So like a restaurant in the dark. But did you do it like pitch black, or did you do it blindfolded?
Blindfolded, kept it dark. Couldn't see anything. But the problem Eric and Jean came to was that Cara is obviously the pickiest eater in the entire world, and if you add loss of sight to that, she's not going to try.
Yeah, she is not
anything.
The best audience for something as like. So she, like, even stuff that she liked, she's already going to be preempting that it's going to be gross.
Yeah, she doesn't want anything gross in her mouth. So the first one was dough balls, which was great. Like, this is easy, I know what dough balls are.
Oh, so they're reading the room, like, they're like, all right, we're not going to go straight in with some fucking anchovies or something like that.
Yeah, they were good. They knew, if Cara hadn't been there, they probably would have gone further out, but Cara just wouldn't have done the things, and they were like, let's...
So it's like, when they go towards their mouth with a dough ball, just like, oh my God, oh, it's going to be gross, oh, it's spiders.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess, we wanted to just make sure, because she's the smallest, she has to eat. So you have to make sure the food's edible, and they still fucked up, because they were like, what does Cara like? And I'm like, just think of the most basic things in the world.
Chicken dinosaurs, smiley faces,
chicken drumsticks, just... beans on toast, that sort of stuff. And they're like, does she like macaroni and cheese? And I'm like, she loves macaroni and cheese. And they're like, what else? I'm like, she loves spicy food. So, got me blindfold on, put my fork down, put it in my mouth. And I can understand their logic, but they put Tabasco sauce in macaroni and cheese.
Oh, okay.
Right, so I enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really nice. Cara was like, what the fuck have you done? And they were like, we put 2 and 2 together. And it's like, and you made 7.
She wasn't a fan of that.
No.
Oh, well, I think that would be all right.
It was good.
But like, also, it'd be all right if you know what's coming.
Yeah. I managed to scoff all. Everyone else managed to eat it. We're fine. We moved on to the next bar, which was a 90s children's birthday party. So, pass the parcel, slushy vodka drinks.
Yeah.
We played...
7 minutes in heaven.
We played musical pillows, which is like musical chairs, but there's a pile of pillows in the middle, and you've just got to be the one that ends up with a pillow. There's less pillows than there are people. When the music's on, get one.
Spin the bottle.
One of our friends, who is of the pregnant variety. She or he is.
Or they.
Or they. Oh, fuck these. Fuck, I forgot about
What, fuck these?
Yeah, fuck them. You know what? Fuck them.
Wow.
That was a bit I used to do on Twitch for ages, which was like, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Or both. Never neither. Never neither. It's just like, that's the one line in the stand I draw.
If ever I go, he or she, probably he. Or it's like mumbled, probably he.
Playing with a pregnant woman, she stayed in that game too long. Like, there was points where it was friendly at first, and then it got down to 3 toxic men and a pregnant woman, and we had to be like, you have to.
And hold on, what were the rules of the game?
So you all walk around a big circle, around a pile of pillows. There's 7 of you, there's 6 pillows. Music stops, grab a pillow. Person without a pillow, you're out of the fucking game.
Yep.
We get down to 4. 3 toxic men, 1 pregnant lady, and all the toxic men are being like, our toxicity won't stop me.
You've still got a tooth missing from the sock game, and you're like, you're fucking. You wanna go toe to toe with me?
Aye. So we just had to, like, 3 men move her out of the game because we're like, the next round is going to involve punches and kicks. You have to leave, and not from your inside. Then we moved on to me and Cara's bar. Now Cara says I took it too far and I changed the rules before we went in. We did it in Caelan's room, and it was the original idea was everyone comes up in their couples and they draw a bit of paper, and you either end up being the parent or the baby. And if you're a baby, you have to put big adult diapers on above your clothes, and you're not allowed to drink anything, and you're not allowed to give yourself any juice. But what there is, the parents have, is a bottle of either like Kahlua, Bailey's, Pina Colada, and if you want booze, you have to cry. You have to cry.
Imagine at that moment someone doxed you. Imagine in that moment the police just bust in and just saw you in your nappy going,
well.
You just go, aye, lock us up, chuck away the key.
So that was the original plan until when we got there, everyone that was there, I looked at all the boys involved, and I was like, I know all these blokes, and every one of them will commit to the bet if I lead the charge. So I just said to Cara, I'm like, just make it the boys. So to the boys upstairs, I was like, we're all babies. Get your clothes off. And they fully got down to their underwear. We put the adult diapers on, and then the parents come into the room. We're all crying there. And we just look like giant babies. And we all laugh for about 2 minutes. And then 45 minutes in, we're literally 4 grown men crying, being fed.
Fake it till you make it.
Oh,
you're like, actually, you're simulating tears at first. By the end, you really were hungry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it got, we felt uncomfortable. There was times we were like, this is like actually people's fetishes that we're doing. Like at one point it was like, at the start it was like, this is going to be a fun bar to do. And then by the end of it, it was like, well, we just wanted it to be like an innocent toe-sucking bar. And then some people got really into it.
Cullen's ankle deep. Did he actually shit himself? He's actually had him getting changed.
Well, so the
Cullen's got his willy out. Cullen's got his willy out. Scream and shout. Scream and shout. Cullen's got his willy out.
I mean, if Caelan did have his willy out, you would have to scream and shout.
Scream, shout, run.
The final game in ours was we had 5 nappies that I filled with different types of chocolate pudding and different like chocolate buttons and like mini curly whirlies and stuff, and then put a penny in one of them. And we're like, look, one of the babies has swallowed a penny. You gotta find it. So we went through. So by the end of that bar, we were
shit-faced
because we were so ashamed. Like the babies definitely came out of it more drunk. We toddled our way downstairs.
Well, the mum's just tutting, just sharing advice.
Oh well, so for the mums, obviously we just had like standard glasses of wine, and we were just like, and every time you drink, you have to say it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Called it mummy juice. And then the final bar was a chocolate bar.
Chocolate bar?
So chocolate,
like a pairing,
with like cocktail chocolates that was like we had to guess what the cocktail was.
Aye, like gourmet chocolates.
Yeah.
And was that not one that I feel like that's one that you should have done early doors when you had a bit more of a sophisticated palate?
Yes.
And I think the rule is like drink the expensive whiskey at the start of the night and pull out the cheap stuff at the end. It sounds like
yeah. I like a good creamy drink every now and then.
Do you just self-promote? Did you just look dead into the camera and go, cream drink? I like a Mugginsy drink, personally.
Yeah.
But drink Muggins responsibly. Drink Muggins under the table, if you know what I mean.
It's very easy, actually. Well, look, I like a creamy drink as much as the next Patreon listener. But
I'm on the Truman Show. I feel like I'm in the Truman Show.
But if you've just come from a bar where all you've drank is pina colada from a bottle, and then your 20th drink of the night, they're like, here's a really creamy drink. You're like, I don't, come on. I'm curdling. I can feel my insides making cheese right now. And it's...
I remember at Ricketts and Convery, Convery, right? So those two,
friends.
My friends, went and got high with them after a gig.
Yeah.
I think he'd went home. It was one of the last gigs of the tour in like 2011 or something. Remember, you went back with your parents.
Oh yeah, it was Darlington.
Darlington.
And the backstage was fucking disgusting. That was the end of like our second ever like 65-day tour, but it was all in a row, and not as emotionally done as we've been in more recent.
Oh no,
tours.
but like at the time, like back then, that was like that was baby steps compared to what we've done.
Yeah.
But at the time, we had nothing to compare to. It was tough for then.
Aye.
It was tough for then. And at the end, right, I went back and got high with those two, right, and then this like while we're stoned and got the munchies, Convery just has this epiphany where he's just like, oh, I've been at the sweet shop. You've been to some fucking sweet shop and you got like an actual fucking, when you get the actual full thing of your sweets. You know what it was? It was that chocolate dust.
Oh, just
right? And we're just there, just fucking handfuls of chocolate dust, right? And then Ricketts is like, I can't class with this glass of milk, right? We're drinking milk and eating chocolate dust, right? And after about
and then what? Fucking Santa turned up and was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
And mate, after an hour, bloated the fuck. We're just there, our tummies were like fucking swollen out the freeway. We're just like, the night was over. We're like, look at the freeway, we got dicky tummies. We just stood up because we couldn't sit down. We're like, fucking necks are hurting and that. We're like, I've got a dicky tummy.
So what you were saying is, what you could have done with that point is perhaps a parental figure to burp you.
Oh, that's
what pick you up, pat your back a little bit.
That's it. Them moments where like I just need Natalie to run going, you didn't want to do that.
I know you think it's fun because your friends are saying it's going to be fun, but
and like I'm always to her going, fucking hell, we're going cracking the whip. But like if she's not there, I'm just there with a dicky tummy. Uploaded, my night's ruined.
I always like if there's any times that I get like particularly stoned in the evening, like me and Caelan are staying up playing some FIFA, and I've just not eaten properly during the day, and my body just goes, "You're starving," and all I do is just eat fucking sweets and fucking leftover lasagna, and you just eat so much because whatever happens when you're stoned, your body just is like, there's heaps more room. Keep going. Like, I'll move your heart out of the way. Trust me, this is how much you want Tang Fastics.
You know what it is? It's like the first time you've got your own money and your parents don't own you, and you like, what? I can have 7 Snickers. You're in the shop and you can't. Hold on a minute. I've got my own money. My parents aren't here. I can have 7 Snickers, and then you have 7 Snickers, and you can. There's a reason. There's a reason we just have one.
Okay. You go back to the sweet shop, and you're like, "Why did you sell me 7 Snickers?" What's your fucking problem?
I'm gonna tell me, ma.
It's always it's not. You wake up the next day, and you're like, "I'm still full." Like, if you wake up after 9 hours of a stoned sleep and you wake up and you're like, I don't need breakfast, that's a bad sign of how much you've eaten. And then the 12 or 1 o'clock shit, where it's just real.
I just sometimes like, you don't know what this is going to be like. Sometimes like, I can't, so normally you can tell by how your stomach feels what the poo is going to be like. Sometimes I'm just like, mate, the wheel is spinning there, and when I pull down my trousers, it's going to stop on something. It's going to be solid to the point it hurts.
Yeah.
Or like runny to the point it feels solid again. You ever get there where they're runny, but you still have to push it out like it's a rock?
But like it comes out like a poo water balloon and it bursts just on the way. No, it sounds like you have polyps that are bursting inside of your arseholes.
Yeah.
Were you ever part of the game that me and Jean used to play when we lived together, which was Poo Psychic?
No.
Right. So what?
It sounds like something I would have liked.
I know this one.
I can't believe you kept it from us.
You're
You're like, don't tell Kyle, ruin it.
No, so,
It's such a wholesome game and you somehow make it gross.
well, it's not wholesome at all. Yeah. Unless it's asshole some. Bad that you can hear the airplane on the dead air.
That was tumbleweed.
That's this podcast version is tumbleweed. If you could hear,
If you could
us
hear
under
the aircraft
flight
go
path.
by.
So Poo
Oh,
Psychic-
that's hold on. Just if you're doing a gig and you can hear the fridges behind the bar, you're having a bad gig.
If you ever at your gig have to tell the bar staff to shut up, sure they are being rude, but God, it sucks to hear them. Guys, can you stop talking? You're being louder than the laughing. That sounds like a you problem, motherfucker. Poo Psychic. It's a game you can play with yourself or a friend that you like. You need a poo, right? In your heads, go, what do I think this is going to be? How many parts is it coming out in? Is it solid? Is it going to be a long one?
So you preempt it.
You preempt it. You guess from your stomach's feeling, and then you go in, and then you do it. And it's not gross. You don't take pictures of anything like that. You don't have to prove, but you have to be very honest
So
with
you could go like, right, I'm about to go in. I know what I've had to eat. I think it's going to be one of these ones. I think I'm going to go in. It's going to be solid. It's going to come out in a one-er. It's not going to snap. But you're not even going to have to pinch it off. It'll fall off itself.
Yeah.
You'll wipe. There'll be
Cursory wipe. Courtesy wipe.
Right.
Like it's just...
There's going to be next to nothing on it,
Yeah.
if any. Right, you'll go back for another one just because you didn't believe your own eyes. And then a little cat poo comes out. Tiny little wet cat poo comes out that takes forever to wipe. It's like wiping an ink pad.
Paul Perry, a great Scottish comic, used to have a line which is just like, when you're just wiping and it's like wiping a felt tip pen. You're like, for fuck's sake, man, when's it going to run out?
That's when I invented the ass diaper, where you just fucking give up after a few, wedge it up there, and fuck it. Wedge it up, pants up, deal with you later. Fucking, I nearly caught myself short. I did that in altitude.
What?
Ass tamponed, and then fucking went to the naked sauna.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man.
Luckily I went for a shower first because went for a shower.
You didn't notice the giant wad of...
I did when I had a shower. I was like, oh, fucking hell. It's a good job I didn't just fucking lie down on the lounge with that up. It's a good job I just didn't just cock a leg in the steam room and big fucking water tissue just like a fucking pom-pom shoved up my arse.
Just
like a cheerleader overstepping the lane.
just jumping into the pool, your body not coming back up, your trousers not coming up, but just a poo-covered tampon.
So anyway, to get back off poos and get back on stoned munchies, I think I've mentioned this life hack, I'll call it a life hack, on the podcast before, right? But we've got new listeners, I don't think I've said it in a while. I was making a bowl of cereal, right? A bowl of Weetabix. And I went and got some...
That's already, I wouldn't, I know it's technically cereal, but Weetabix isn't. When I think cereal, I think Frosties, Cocoa Pops, Lucky Charms, not this. It's like people being like, I'm having some cereal, porridge. You're like, you're having a sad, oaty breakfast. And that's fine, you're an adult.
It's in the same family as shredded wheat.
Yeah. Frosted Shreddies, though.
Shreddies are nice.
Shreddies are nice.
I used to always just put sugar over everything. Like it feels like it defeats the point. Like here's your like fucking wholesome breakfast, and I like, put all the sugar on it.
If there's not at least an inch of like fresh snow sugar on top of your Weetabix, then I'm going to assume you're older than I am.
Yeah. I haven't ate cereal in a while because I kind of clocked on to the disadvantages of eating sugar all the time. And I was like, well, cereal's off the menu then, because I'm not gonna have it without sugar.
It's mad that it's like, what do you want for breakfast? And it's like a bowl of sugar. I understand the logic of it, but the fact that that's the go-to, or you've just got to cook shit up.
So I was making Weetabix. Do you ever have hot Weetabix where you put like hot water in and then a bit of milk to top it up, and it goes a completely different texture? It's like a hot dish, lush with a ton of sugar on.
It's porridge,
pretty much. So I went and got the milk, and there's fucking barely any milk left, like a little drizzle of milk left in. And I was like, well, I'm not just gonna have fucking hot water on me cereal like a fucking pov. I was like, I had my own house at the time. I wasn't gonna regress. I made a cup of tea and poured the cup of tea out of the fucking Weetabix.
This sounds like one of those stories that you hear footballers telling when they're like, I knew
We'll have a bit of banter.
I knew I was in when I was young. We could barely make ends meet. I remember I used to have to eat Weetabix and tea, and you're like, "Oh God, things have changed for him." I'm so glad to hear that.
So that was. You know what?
Wouldn't it all go well with coffee?
It made day. Try it.
Just
We'll try it after this.
I feel like if you mix coffee with Weetabix, you're just loading your asshole with a 12 gauge shotgun. All you're doing is you're going, I want to shit something solid in 45 minutes. Pour coffee on your Weetabix.
Yeah, it's fucking gunpowder and then
and just a heavy, not a real bullet, but like one of the ones they use at riots or in prisons to just when it's essentially a beanbag fired at high velocity to brew. That's what you're doing to your body.
Definitely. Riot bullets. I've totally changed the whole fucking my whole breakfast game's changed since because it used to either be I used to always just think cereal or toast, and that was either it. Like it was that was the two options for breakfast. But now fucking I'm gourmet for breakfast now. Yeah, making all kinds of shit. I should say scrambled egg, pancakes,
scrambled egg, fried egg.
I'm mad me. I always have salmon.
I like for me it's smoothie for breakfast, and you just put everything in it, and you're like, that feels
like I'm getting all my nutrients. Doing the hatch.
Yeah,
we would have to
If
chew.
you can get your 5 a day into your first fucking meal of the day, cracking, real good.
I always realise I'm just getting so into the realm of middle class now that I sat drinking prosecco watching Wimbledon in the garden yesterday. That's where I'm at now. I got the telly right up to the patio doors.
You're if I had a time machine, I'd go back in time, get 23-year-old you.
Yeah, I sit there with a bit of fruit in me prosecco. A little strawberry, get a frozen strawberry. You know your bag of frozen fruit that you have. You know your bag of frozen fruit. To make compote with to put on your blueberry French toast and whatnot.
I don't think with a straight face you're allowed to ask for any Patreon listeners at the end of this episode.
Do you know they have them bags of frozen fruit? So that when you're making your French toast, you can put a bit of maple syrup on in a pan and you can pour it on top as a nice little topping instead of a spoonful of sugar. Did I do that? I tell you what, I'm mad as fuck on breakfast, mate. I shouldn't see me bouncing to bed now, and then I'm going to treat myself. It's called self-love, Daniel. So anyway,
Natalie must watch you make breakfast.
She's so fucking chuffed with herself the way she's got it.
I imagine she is. And then whenever you have sex with her, but she's always like, "Oh, okay, so he's still on this side."
Do you know what? It's so funny the fact I'm there. People who have listened to the last couple of podcasts where I've been slagging off Matty and that for driving automatics, going Aperol Spritz energy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Hold your nose when you jump into the pool energy.
Yeah.
And I'm texting them with this kind of banter, right? We're fucking sat watching Wimbledon with my legs crossed with a strawberry and me prosecco, telling me Cavapoo to shut the fuck up. I'm trying to watch the tennis. And I'm texting them going, "You're not men. None of you are men."
So what you've come to the conclusion there is that most of males' toxic energy comes from projecting their own insecurities onto.
Most all of it, 100% of it.
Just you sitting out in your back garden with your little designer dog that has anxiety, drinking your.
She's got bluster. She's got bravado. She's got
fluster. That's what she's fucking got.
She's got too much. She's got too much confidence.
Right. Who'd win in a fight? Your dog or 3 leaves? On a windy day.
She would be like, "Come on, then, leaves. Come on, what you got? Right. Bring your mates." She's nailed.
So you're there justifying your designer dog being as toxic as you, right? Doing all this, watching outside in your posh end of Glasgow flat
with me braces in,
so you can have new designer fucking teeth, right? Not braces. It's not let's get these lined. It's let's get these perfect, right? And then in your closed patio door, you catch a glimpse of yourself wearing your wife's sunglasses, and you go, "I better call Matty gay." And Matty's just at home. Yes. His designer dog with anxiety.
He's automatic inside.
He's got it on charge.
His swim hat on because he's about to have a bath.
gets a text from you. Call himself. He's like, oh, right, so that's what it is. That does make sense. Now, whenever I attack one of my friends, I am going to before I do, I'll still do it. I'll take a brief moment to look at the scenario. I'm like, does this have any reason to do why I suddenly want to violently verbally attack my friends? Yeah, it does. You've got toe separators and you're in the jacuzzi. Fair enough, actually.
Class, good life.
Yeah. How else are my nails meant to dry?
I've always sneered at the middle class, but I do love me indulgences. Like, it's mint.
It's allowed. I think, there's... I certainly experience a lot of... I imagine you do too, considering how you were raised and the different... You get this weird sort of guilt occasionally.
Oh, aye. Anything that's a queue jumper, anything that's like, I'm better than you, I still did.
Yeah, aye. But you do it knowing that, well, when that wasn't you, you were like, I fucking hate that cunt.
And them cunts.
Wish it was me.
They think they're better than me, do they, by being better? What is it about them being better than me that makes them think they're better than this? Smart me, I see.
Aye. Do you want fucking chinned? I'll prove a point. It might be your point, but...
I've discovered something about myself. Not like I've been having road rage, right? But without the rage. Have I told you about this recently?
You've been having road.
I've been having really cold-blooded road rage. My heart rate isn't up. I'm not even angry, and I'm starting fights with people through the window. And it's happened like multiple times the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Where like. Last time I'd done the podcast, were you right? The box junction coming at your estate, where it's a fucking bastard to turn right, but like it's a box junction, so people stop, and you can creep into the box junction, wait for your turn, and go right. Somebody had pulled all the way to the front of that, so I couldn't get out, and it was fucking rush hour, right? And I'm like, I should be trying to turn right here, but like the guy that was waiting behind her was at the edge of the box junction, and all I needed was her to move off the box junction when the lights go, so I could pull out and move, right? And we both sat there for about fucking 3 minutes, and he'd spotted us that I was going to do that, right? And then as soon as the traffic started to move, he fucking just sped up, bumper to bumper, blocked our place, and I'm looking at him through the window going, I could kill you. And he's not moving anywhere. I was like, I could kill you, if I wanted to, if I felt like it. Like, he would be dead, right? He's like this 22-year-old kid who thought he was being cocky, he's last in the car and all that, right? Pulled up, right? And I went run the back of him and pulled up next to him, and I was saying, the fucking confidence on you. I was like, that's going to get knocked out of you, that, if you keep acting like that. And I'm fucking darting through the window. But
How's he reacting to this?
He's looking fucking straight forward. He's not even looking. He's like glancing. He's like, oh God, has he gone away yet? Has he gone? I'm not even angry at the time. I'm like, and that's been multiple times. There's one where someone fucking sped up behind us. It's like I pulled in for an ambulance, right, on the dual carriageway. Ambulance kept going. I pulled back out. Someone was trying to fucking ghost the ambulance all the way back, and he sped up my arse and flashed and tooted the horn, so I speed doing to 50. I'm just doing 50 in the fucking fast lane. And I just ended up like, there's no one in front of us for miles because I'm doing 50. And I'm just like, on my shoulder, just going, fucking, I'll kill you, son. And I don't know what's got into us. I don't know what's got into us, but I just...
It sounds like you need the confidence knocked out of you. It really sounds like one of these times I hope you end up picking like a fucking punch buggy, pink goes past you, goes up your ass and you're like, I'm going to fucking do this cunt. You go, you yell through the window, and then just an MMA fighter comes out and you're like...
good fight. Finally. Finally a match.
Caelan Humphries been stuffed into the exhaust of his own car today.
Oh man, I just get some weird kick out of it where somebody's just like using their car as a shield to act hard.
Yeah.
And then you just let them know that like it might escalate into trouble.
I am the opposite of that. I think, realised I would get road rage and I would get aggressive and yell at people, but I would never do it in America. Like, you can cut me off in America and I'm like, have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
I'm like, sorry for pulling out there, mate. On you go.
Yeah, something must be going on. Hey, I hope everything's all right at home. Fucking thanks for, making me slam on the brakes. That was dead nice of you.
But you know what would actually happen if you lived in America?
Yeah.
You know what would actually happen? You'd get a gun. And you'd be like, what, do you want a gunfight, you stupid cunt? You want to shoot at each other and that and see who wins?
Well, so I suddenly took two things happened. I took a look at my own logic, which was, right, the reason I don't do it in America is because I'm scared of being shot. As if, in the UK, people also couldn't kill me with what they have to hand. Like, I'm not a fighter. If I get into an argument that any of these cards on a wrong day, bad day, could come out and just decide to kick my fucking head in, and I've learned a lesson. And the other factor that came into it, because it's about a couple of months ago, I've got Caelan in the car, right? Cara's in the passenger seat, and just this, I'm on a dual carriageway, I'm following a car, and I've left 3 car lengths of the amount that's meant to be in there at that fucking speed.
Enough to make the light going off your dash.
Yeah,
There's a light that goes, you're too close to the car in front, you're like, it's steering heat in, I'll hang back.
Somebody fucking, she just, no indication, just straight fucking in there. I have to slam on the brakes, and then not only slam on the brakes, speed up so I don't get fucking rear-ended by the car that's behind me, thankfully, because it's a Tesla and it's all fucking fine. Heightened fucking sense. I've got my kid in the car. It's the first long drive we've done. I'm fucking raging, and I'm just like, I literally follow the car up the road, and whenever they change lane, I change lane. I'm like, I'm just gonna. I want to see who you are. I want you to fucking see.
Putting your family at risk.
Well, aye. So at one point, Cara just mumbles under her breath. She's just like, fucking pathetic, and it was so cutting.
Russian.
Oh, because then she said, because normally if I'm in the car with you and I'm yelling about what I'm going to do, you're yelling what I'm going to do, we're just in an echo chamber of like, fine, this is how we're getting our anger out. I'm going to yell angrily, you're going to agree with me angrily, and all the things I want to do that person, we've just said it in the car, and I've relieved the stress. That doesn't happen with Cara. She's just like, I'm not joining in your sad, toxic banner.
What a stupid, like, you shouldn't engage with any of them things.
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't have, like, and even though, like, I'm in my head, I'm like, well, I don't have anger issues because, like, I wasn't angry.
Aye.
I didn't feel angry. That's
worse
worrying.
than your karma,
That's
aye.
worrying. That's like, I'm not going to get sunburned. It's windy. Like, I can't feel the sun on my skin, so I'm going to be fine.
But it's also,
like,
you're just like going, I'm not scared of getting into a fight or altercation with that other person. That is something that you should have a healthy fear of.
And it's not even...
It's just so you avoid it.
You know what? It's sometimes not even like, I'm not scared of. It's like, I kind of want it. I kind of want this cunt to fucking step up. In a way, I don't know, like, that's troubling. Yeah. That's something that needs addressing.
Well, because also, like, worst case scenario or best case scenario, depending on how you look at it, this cunt gets out of the car, you get out of the car, you knock him out. Then congratulations, you've done a crime.
Yeah. You're on the run now. You're on the run now. Loads of witnesses.
Yeah, heaps.
You held up
traffic. Dash cams.
Like
you did it at traffic lights.
There's no need for it now.
People clapped and they felt on your side at the time. But now and also the way I've watched so many... one of the Reddits I follow is just like people street fights getting fucking knocked out. Man, the amount of people that just fall down and hit their head on a curb. And congratulations, you're now a murderer because you didn't contain your anger. Because you didn't just fucking, be
You think I'm not a murderer, it's manslaughter. Yo, well done, you slaughtered a man. You've made it sound worse, you slaughtered him. You just slaughtered him.
Aye, manslaughter is... Because that's what it is. Like, it's your reckless decision ended the life of a person, but it does sound heaps worse than.
But you know what? It does it for me with them little like moments in vehicles, right? When it's somebody that can see you need to be out, and then actively closes the gap so you can't be out, even though it's not going to change their journey any. Yeah. Or the person that's like fucking slipstreaming behind an ambulance and then gets fucking angry that anybody else dare fucking use both lanes, right? Like, I always look at that as going, that's just one sign of a terrible human. And I always write them off as scum of the earth. The minute they do something scummy, I'm like, oh, this is I've found a real scummy cunt. And I just want them to be scared. Even if I just send them away with their hands trembling, I've just scared scum. And I just feel like it's a fucking moral duty. And I need to stop doing it.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you arrived at that conclusion.
This is a part of the podcast where we just need a chaise long, where you just think, right, Kai, on the corner on the chaise long, we're going to attack you through this.
Here's a driving ethical question for you. How, on a scale of 1 to absolute country, how bad is this? You're on a dual carriageway, it's traffic, it's moving, but it's not moving fast. Let's say 15, 20 mile an hour or less. Up there, you can pull off, you can go into the southern motorway, or you can pull off, go through the roundabout and join the same dual carriageway 20 cars ahead.
You, sir, have local knowledge and you used it.
I agree.
Yeah. That is local knowledge.
On the way to the stag do, Ali was driving. It was me, my dad, and I think one of my brothers in the... Oh, no, maybe it wasn't one I used to. In the car. And that exact scenario happened before the Forth Road Bridge, which was Ali was in this traffic, and he was like, and my dad went, and Ali went to say something, and my dad went to say something, and they were both coming at it from the opposite end. My dad was like, just go down the thing and go across the roundabout. And Ali was like, you see these fucking cunts who go down here across the thing? I hate those cunts. And I was like, oh. I mean, I'm definitely on my dad's side. It's not cheating.
Yeah.
Right? And there's always the risk that, if enough people did that, I'd end up in worse traffic there, and that would be the price I
Yeah,
fucking
you're taking
pay.
a gamble.
Aye.
I don't feel like it's personally affronting like one person. You're not just like cutting off one person. You're just trying to.
All right. So I agree with you, but what is the difference then between that and 400 yards down the road, we know this 3 lanes turns into a 2 lane. Everyone knows that. The signs are fucking there.
Yeah.
And 400 metres before this, we've all pulled into that lane.
Yes.
And somebody's going down there.
They
you could
whiz
argue
by.
that that's local knowledge of
No,
they know where it...
I think the answer to this is I'll be the one that fucking gans out into the right lane because I can see what's happening, and then I'll be the one that's annoyed at the people that are undertaking. But I think the correct thing today is everybody fill both lanes and merge in turn. I think the correct and fastest way to deal with that trouble is to just fill both lanes, merge in turn. So the ones that are whizzing by should be gone, you should all be doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not the dickhead here. Yous are just stupid. These are all like joining this single file queue that's going to go on forever when it can be a double file queue that's going to be squatter.
Aye, but yeah.
But he has a one that is a version of what you did, but like a bit more intrusive. In Blythe, right? If you come off the Spine Road, the A189, right? I'm just saying these because some local people get it, right? And you're at the Asda roundabout, you queue in the left lane to go straight on, and you queue in the right lane to turn into Asda. The queue in the left lane's way longer.
But what you can do
is do a full 360.
I'm a big fan of the full round. I'm a big fan of the full roundabout. It's within the flaws. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I didn't know that was the exit.
But it's how it's like a stabbing. It's how personal it is because you go around and then you merge with the person you fucked over and you're looking through the window going, "Hey mate," and it's such a small town that you probably know the cunt who you're stabbing in the back. You're probably there going, "Oh right, aye, you're gonna be at the pub tonight."
I hope you're the designated driver because you seem a lot more responsible than me.
So you're a fan of that?
I would. It's one of my hypocrisies. If I were to see somebody else doing it, I'm like, you fucking wanker. But the second I decide to do it, I'm like, I exist on a higher level of understanding and consciousness.
You're
and
not above the law, but above the etiquette.
Yeah.
You think you can turn up to the golf course in your joggies, in your jeans?
I mean, you can to some of them.
Above etiquette.
So should we acknowledge the 2 cunts in the room?
Yeah, Muggins and cream here. What's up with your brothers?
Well, so we've said for so long that we're going to slowly be increasing the quality of this podcast, and what we meant by that is everything that should be quality we're now outsourcing to my brothers to do. Well, to hopefully fucking sit in and end up being like the producers and to help it, just so we do less editing, and because they're more savvy technology-wise than we are. We're basically just copying every other podcast. You know, every other podcast has that one cunt that they occasionally cut to when they don't know something.
The Brian Redban.
Yeah.
Remember the original Joe Rogan podcast? It was the Brian Redban.
Oh, well,
He's
I think
the one
like, isn't it the guy's name's Jamie or something?
Is that who now?
Muggins, yeah.
I don't know. I haven't listened in a while, but they got to be there, like Googling stuff and that. Fact-checking where.
Aye. And also, Jack is a listener of the podcast and has been for ages, and one of his pet peeves of the podcast is how many times we start a story, go off topic, and then never get back to that story. And so he's now going to be in the room to go, "Oi, dickhead, so this is what you were fucking talking about." So, next couple of months should be good.
We've got the extra camera. You're not watching it now, but it's ordered. It's on the way.
But just as a thank you to all the fucking regular listeners, even if you don't fucking pay for the Patreon, thank you for pushing us to get to a level where we're taken up. And also, obviously, thank you to the Patreons for giving us the money that means that is possible. I promise I'll stop spending it on weed, kind of.
Aye. And then we'll be able to invest way more by the time we've had your stag do.
Yeah.
Because they are basically powering your stag do.
Yeah.
Which is we're really grateful for that. Thanks for.
We're just being dead honest about how we're spending the money. Hey, well, look, we bought another camera and it was quite expensive. There you go. And the stag do is for my mental health. It's too good right now.
I'm working at ways that I can tax deduct it. I'm like, is there any way I can dodge tax? You know what it is? It's a fucking the Tory government are fucking encourage tax dodging with the Tory government. I watch them.
You don't mean tax dodging. You mean
just like
expenses.
Pay as little fucking taxes as you can legally.
Yes.
Right? Because I always fucking look at them the way like everything that's happening on the telly now, they're all fucking arguing and infighting and they're all still getting paid out of our money. And when they start giving contracts to their mates for like PPE or even for the fucking food, I look at that and going, why the fuck would I want to put money on that partly? And if it was a socialist government, you'd be fucking like, you'd wear your tax payment with a badge of honour.
Aye. Well, I mean, I agree. I pay horrific amounts of tax.
I can't even imagine, because I just done my tax thingy recently and it's like, it was like, I gasped.
Yeah.
Right? But then I just like went, Danny's must be brutal.
Yeah. I mean, it's look. There's you get to a certain threshold where every bit of money you earn after that is taxed at 50%, sometimes a bit more.
That's one thing they don't teach you in school. You know, if you want to become a millionaire, you have to make 2 million.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you that.
Aye. But it's as annoying as it is to watch half of, or sometimes almost half of your fucking wages going out. The thing is, I've always stood by is that is how it should work. I earn more, so I should absolutely pay more tax. That makes so much sense to me.
I totally agree. Like, I think the more you make, the more money should be taxed until eventually it gets to 100% when you're a billionaire.
Yeah, well, yeah.
In the way you're like, not like 100% of the first billion, but everything after that. You don't need that much money.
You don't mind.
Like, nobody
needs more. And there's definitely lesser numbers than this. But I'm going to say nobody needs more than £5 million. Mm-hmm. There's nobody. I don't have that, right? But I'm below that, and I already don't need.
But I would really begrudge if there was a person making 5 million and then they had to give every penny after that to the Tory government. I'd be like, oh no, can he not just keep it? He might do better good with it.
Yeah.
It's
knowing that your tax isn't going in to pay for the fucking roads and schools. Even before I had kids, you always had these fucking people being like, what? So you're fine with paying tax for schools that you're never going to use?
Yes,
like 100%.
Aye,
more. Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't.
But could more of the money go into that?
Yeah, I don't want my country to be filled with thick cunts like you who come out with arguments like that. Like, man, if I didn't have a car, I'd still happily pay road tax because I don't like people being in car crashes and dying. Right, even though I don't benefit directly from what
you're still going to use the buses and taxis, and you will use the roads in your own way. I think it's like you want to make a contribution to society, and the more you make, the more you can make. It should be prestigious to pay higher taxes. It should be like at a point. I always said like it should be like in Call of Duty when you've leveled up to the top level and then it gets the prestige rating. I think it should be like once you've earned your first whatever the cap is, $500 million. Even if it's an astronomical amount of money like $1 billion, right? Every penny after that goes towards your prestige rating, and then there's just this like fucking top 100 contributors to the society, and you like people who instead of chasing wealth chase prestige and try to just be the number one guy, the Hall of Famer that's fucking made the biggest contribution to the rest of the world.
I just don't think that's how people work. Especially
if you're
the type of person.
It's idealistic.
Aye. If you want to become a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, you have to be able to just go, I'm not going to pay anyone a fair fucking wage.
Aye.
I'm going to dodge tax like a motherfucker.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you get off. If you want to be a millionaire, you have to make 2 million. But if you want to be a billionaire, you have to make 1.1 billion because you're probably going to fucking put that money somewhere like a tax haven.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've just fixed the world.
Well, yeah. I mean, we regularly do on this podcast. It's mad. It's still the way we are. It's almost as if Boris Johnson doesn't listen to this.
Imagine he did. Imagine it was his escapism. Imagine he was like, oh God, everything's eating us up. I'm going to just have a bubble bath and listen to Sloss and Humphries on the road.
Aye. And he's crying there, and that's why it's called a bubble bath. He's just...
He didn't put any Radox in. What you got to plug?
Not much, but I was also going to say this is the handy bit of having producers in the room, because one of the things that happens in normal conversation with friends and banter is you get to the end of a topic and you just go, and then you sit in silence for 30 seconds and then come
reflect
up with
on it.
Whereas what happens when you're doing a podcast is we go, got to fill this dead air. That's over now. We've got these cuts. If we have dead air, it's dead. We'll cut it out.
We can cut out dead air now.
Yeah.
What people won't get to listen to it, just lull.
Yeah.
What? I feel like that's half the thrill.
Well, maybe sometimes, but I think it would just pull off
not.
the pressure for us to be like, and then this other thing happened today that I'm going to tell you about. Because I'll be honest with you, not heaps of interesting shit.
Yeah, you know what? We had a discussion on a podcast during the pandemic about like Black Lives Matter, right? And I revisited it because someone said it was really interesting and it would be good for a Rewind Wednesday, and I listened back, and because it was such a contentious subject, right? We're doing a lot of M'ing and Aaron and and just fucking every other word was an M, and I just took the time to go through and cut some out, and it just sounded a lot better. Yeah, believe it or not, sounded slicker.
Okay, there we go. That's how this podcast will get more intelligent. We won't actually get more intelligent ourselves. We'll just edit
out the thick bits
to make us seem fucking better. That'll work.
And should we bring some games back as well? Should we start doing games again? We'll because Muggle Corner was a belter one. It felt like we expired it, but we could probably.
But I feel like
it's been
so long since Muggle Corner actually
wearing the Muggle t-shirt.
Representing.
But we're going to have like a rethink. Like we have been like, when we go same energy.
Yeah. So
you could do like a same energy game where you say something that does a thing, and then you try and pool them with a group of other people that have got the same energy. Yeah. So we should do this off the podcast, really. But
no. They see behind the curtain the entire fucking time. They know what this fucking shit is.
Yes.
I've got to call myself out for being more of a coward, and it's not necessarily a coward. I've got my excuses ready, but I'll tell you what's happening. You know how I'm doing a work in progress during the Fringe?
Uh-huh.
I'm doing previews this Friday.
You're doing a preview for your work in progress. Have you got material working yet for it? Have you been to the Red Rose and stuff?
I did earlier on in the year, so when I just had a bit more free time after Caelan was born, and I was just working on stuff. I popped up at the stand in the Monkey Barrel, and I got there's a 15-minute bit there, which will easily become like a 25-minute bit once I get into it. Like, when you've just got, I'm like, that's a plant, it's going to grow into something big, but at the moment it's there, I'm going to go and like plant more seeds. I've got ideas, I've got fucking heaps of shit. I think I've got like most of the structure in my head, but it's just actually fucking sitting down and doing it. But part of me does not, and this is all a prison of my own making, in my own head, of standards that do not exist outside of anywhere but me. I'm like, you're not allowed to write any stuff before a work in progress. If you're doing a work in progress, when I say I'm doing a preview, I'm doing a 30-minute spot, so I'm just getting up and doing that. But I'm like, if I sit down...
When you're doing that?
Friday, Saturday, I'm jumping on
You're not doing Thursday?
No.
Shit, because I'm doing the Thursday one.
Yeah, so I think that's why I'm jumping in. Marlena was like, I don't have people doing the Friday and Saturday. Can I have you jump on, please? Just to...
So you're going to figure out... Yeah, I mean, it needs staying. You're creating a 2-hour show. You're in a different situation than the rest of it. We're creating a Fringe show.
I know, but Kai, it would be like you complaining about all the horrible things that these drivers are doing of ambulance chasing and then tooting you behind for 10 years and then... doing it constantly, very openly.
It would be like me singing your girlfriend picked a dog, and then my wife picked my dog.
Yeah, it would be like that.
It would be like us doing a whole episode slagging off Tom Horton being on TikTok and then opening a TikTok account and putting videos up.
Yeah. If it's all right with you, I don't want any more examples. If we could just stop that one right there, guy. Point received.
I'd done a preview, like a half preview, and it was just meant to be 25 minutes, and then Gareth had a problem with it. I think fucking his upstairs neighbours left the bath taps on, and then he ended up having a bath in his living room.
Oh, a shower.
He's fucking ceiling come through or what, and he was meant to be on, so he bailed on that gig, and I basically swapped with him. I was like, I'll absorb your time tonight, and then tomorrow you absorb my time. We'll both do longer spots, right? Yeah. Thinking I'm going to be a lot better doing like a 50-minute spot or whatever, and I'd done what I thought was 40 and looked at my watch, and I was on like 29 minutes.
Oh.
And I was like, brutal. I got so much more work today, but it was like Craig Hill's crowd.
Yeah.
I'd done a joke about ASL and nobody knew what I was on about, and I had to explain it.
Yeah. And
I'm like, this maybe, it was nice enough gig and they were laughing, but I'm like, I think I might have more time in a crowd that are more suited to me.
Yes, yeah. Or at least more neutral.
Less expecting
to just see one one act that they
it's
come
not.
to see.
It's not that they didn't like us; they did, and they were laughing.
But you were viewed as a support act as opposed to the main attraction, which would obviously be during your.
And I think that like it might be I'm hoping that it might, like, if I get into Red Raw tomorrow night and I do half of that material, it'll be twice as long.
Yeah, well, but you also can't. Red Raw's the other side.
Yes.
Red Raw, especially if it's fucking Glasgow Red Raw, which it is because it's on a Tuesday. That's one where I always use Glasgow Red Raw as I just need confidence in this joke.
Yeah.
Like, and if I have confidence in this joke, I'll deliver it better, and then I'll find the fucking weak spots.
Because as well, in them moments, if people are laughing at the bit, you'll stay in the bit longer. You'll come up with bits on the spot.
Yeah.
Because you're just exploring a premise.
There was, I think it was on the Comedians Talking Comedy, which was Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock,
Ricky Gervais,
Louis C.K. and Ricky Gervais somehow.
like fucking Tottenham in the Super League.
Look, and I think Ricky Gervais is absolutely. I've not watched his most recent stand-up, but I think Ricky Gervais is very funny. I think Extras is one of the funniest shows ever made. The Office I never got into, and that's just because I personally don't like cringe comedy.
I didn't really watch Partridge or anything.
Yeah, like it's just I might try again with it more, but I remember trying to watch and I was just like I can't enjoy cringing at awkward situations. That's not what makes me laugh. But it's obviously fucking genius. But I just think and this is why I respect Ricky just for the ego. He wasn't a stand-up originally. He was a fucking writer, and then he wrote two of the best television comedy shows ever written, and then started doing comedy after that. And because he's such a good writer, obviously his material was good, and he was confident and able to do this. But the brass fucking neck to being like, all right, so should we have a sit down of all the greatest comics in the world? Jerry Seinfeld, Louis C.K. and fucking Chris Rock. I've been like, you've got 7 years under your belt. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, you've got BAFTAs and Emmys and Golden Globes and all these things.
I just took up golf and I'm just like, right, take up. Podrick.
Yeah, and you're decent at golf. But
got 7 years under my belt.
But it's great. I love nothing more than talking shop, and I love watching comedians talking shop. I love the science of comedy. I love the creativity of it, and you know how you dissect it and understand it. So watching these four comics sitting around talking about it, one of the things that Jerry Seinfeld was saying is, what do you do, or what you're meant to do? Like, let's say you do a joke, right, and the audience is fucking laughing, and they're laughing so hard that they're actually interrupting the next bit.
Yeah, and you're losing momentum.
And you're losing momentum. What do you do? Because some people just they accept the applause.
Stay in the bit.
Stay in the bit. Whatever you're doing, let's say you're doing a bit where you're angry about something, or the person you're playing in the routine is angry about something, and you're yelling, and you yell the punchline or one of the punchlines, and the audience lose their shit. Don't bask in the. Consider it pausing the TV. Just fucking stay there, angry.
Stay angry.
You can still bask in the fucking laughter.
You can corpse to an extent. You can like have a laugh at yourself, but then like kind of game face yourself and get back to being angry again.
You just gotta stay in the bit. And that's
so when that big laugh starts, that emotion that you're in there is the same emotion you want to be when you come out of it.
Yeah.
Even if you stop and have a drink while they're fucking giving it the beans, as long as you get back to that.
That was the first. I remember that being like one of the landmarks in my career when I was starting out, when I was still just a fucking open spot doing gigs anywhere. The first time, I think it was my 7th or 8th gig, and I remember, I can tell you the full layout of this fucking room. Right, you know how bad my memory is.
Aye.
For some reason, this felt like such an achievement that my brain captured it, because I was like, you're a real comedian. That's it. It was literally the first time I ever had the confidence to take a drink on stage.
Oh, wow.
To actually, like, they laugh and go... Because if you're new to comedy, there's nothing more terrifying than taking your weapon out the fucking game.
Yeah.
It would be like going paintballing or going to fucking war, and for random bits of the combat to be like, and you have to take all the bullets out the gun.
Yeah.
It's only gonna be 5 seconds. It's like reloaded.
It's gonna feel like forever.
It's gonna feel like fucking forever.
And you're gonna be drinking again. Don't fuck up having a drink.
I still fuck up drinking on stage, and always gets that fucking horrible laugh where they just laugh at your stupidity, and you're like, oh god.
Did I ever tell you about my second ever gig where I forgot what I was saying? I only had one routine. I had nowhere to go if I forgot what I'm saying. It's my second gig, right? And it's a place called Hogo 10 in Newcastle. Gavin Webster was hosting it, right? And I'm on somewhere in the middle, and I went to get my drink off the table, and as I'm having a swig, I went, it's a fucking candle. It was a floating candle. It wasn't lit. It went out. But I started drinking with a floating candle on my second ever gig. And it absolutely solved it because I was like, oh, fuck. I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, kill some time by having a drink. And then fucking next thing you know, saved by a candle. One thing, advice to new comics is sort the mic in the mic stand out the minute you get on stage. And that's another one of them. Like,
Market territory.
Well, it's that, and it just looks so fucking amateur. If you like, this is all tangled up on here. If you just grab it and stay tangled up, and you don't just take a second and just loop it around the mic stand and then put the mic stand over there, like you're on such higher status to do that than to just perform your 5-minute spot as fast as you can with a tangled up mic. Yeah, and
also it's you got to, like, my advice would be spend the first 15 to 30 seconds of getting onto stage and getting ready, barely acknowledge them.
Like, you're talking for like a 1+ hour tour show there. If you're on doing your spot after the comp there, Devon let the clapping and laughter die down for too long, but use that time.
You can have the 15 seconds to get up there, acknowledge the audience without saying fucking, but like make eye contact with them. Take the mic at the stand, put the mic fucking behind you,
put a drink somewhere,
and that's just you very much in a psychological level going, this is mine, this is where I am. Because you've got to remember, as much as you're like, oh God, I'm terrified of being on stage, everyone in that audience, not everyone, most of the people in that audience are terrified of the concept of being on stage. For some reason, public speaking is like the number one fear in the world. So that extra little bit of, it might not feel like confidence at the time, it might feel like time wasting. To the audience will look like confidence, and they'll just have a bit more trust in you. Half of the fucking game is confidence and just convincing people that.
Yeah, sometimes you can be nervous because the gig's like, it could be pivotal to your career. Yeah. As long as they don't see the nerves,
you're fine.
You're fine, and if you can keep them to yourself.
And also, just to let you know, no gig is pivotal to your fucking career.
It feels like it at the time though. Them So You Think You're Funny heats and the tryout spot at the Comedy Store and like opening for a big act, like them moments in your career, especially if you have a day job and you're like, oh, if this goes well, like you can't help but doing the maths way again. Like if I do well on this Jongleurs tryout and Julia Chamberlain likes us, that's like £500 weekends.
Yeah,
that's like for them in a month would be twice as much as I'm getting now in me factory job or whatever. Like, so there is there moments where you're like, oh, this could change my life.
Yeah, but it's to understand that those things can. But that's why I'm in comedy. You're given opportunities, right? And you might get less than other people. You might get more than other people. It's important to understand where you stand in it. Like if you are getting more opportunities, acknowledge that. Hello, but if you're getting, even if you fuck up that opportunity, there are going to be more opportunities there. As long as you stick in this fucking job, the opportunities are going to
And the way to get past the nerves is to remember it's not about you, it's about the people who bought the ticket who want to laugh. And if you're good at making people laugh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about like, oh, what if I get booked for this next gig? If you just think, it's like that fucking, if you're going to build a wall, think about laying each brick. Yeah. It's just like that. Just go out there, do what you do, make them people laugh, and then the stuff will come.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I guess it can lead to...
And don't mention how bright the lights are. That's really novice too.
Yeah.
Because the lights are way brighter than people expect.
Yeah. And also the audience don't know how bright the lights are. They're never going to experience it.
But if you walk on and you're just like, oh shit, that's bright.
So, I mean, I guess the only things we have to plug are our upcoming Fringe shows.
Yep.
And also the Patreon, which you can subscribe to at Patreon or any of our fucking social media pages. You'll be able to get on.
Yes. Link in bio. We're going to do dad jokes, aren't we?
We are.
Where'd I put my phone, bud? So my Fringe show is at 6:45 at the Stand most days.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know where I've put my phone.
Well, see, this is the dead air we're talking about.
Trim this off it. There we go. I found it, mate. I found it. Right.
Your dad thinks Big Pharma is a very large man in a tractor. Doesn't know why everyone's so scared.
Your dad went into the hairdressers with a picture of Will from Stranger Things, but he didn't show it to the barber. He just has it in his wallet.
Your dad spits on your mum during sex, sometimes from the other room when he's cheating.
Just
Linda, come here. Linda.
Linda. Your dad picked the strongest people he knew as pallbearers for your granddad's funeral so he could surf the coffin into the creme.
Into the creme? I'm sorry. Did you shorten crematorium?
Aye, the creme.
All right.
Do you not call it the creme?
No.
Coop and creme, that's where I first fingered a lass.
How common is death when you're shorting crematorium?
Creme? That's where you got the neck on and that.
Hold on, what?
The first time I ever fingered a lass was Coop and creme.
But behind the crematorium?
Like
just beside the chimney?
Like in the doorway, actually. It was
not during service hours.
No.
Right. So,
hey, welcome in. Welcome in. Get a bag of confetti for the way.
All right, not confetti, your granddad's ashes, but you're going to throw them anyway.
I didn't mean to disrespect the man. So I, at night...
Aye, when it was closed, you went down to figure people at the crematorium.
Everyone was like, oh, I can hear ghosts now. It was just this last morning. Moaning about how badly I'm fingering it. Your dad grazes on leaves like a giraffe. It's your turn, but I put it in.
Oh, sorry. Oh, do I have to just do it now?
Nah, it's fine. It'll still work out.
Your dad wears a bow tie that spins when he sneezes.
He's got hay fever and took off.
It also just sprays bogies in anyone else's faces.
Your dad come to blows with a PE teacher because they're both trying to molest the same student.
Your dad's therapist has a #1 best-selling novel called The Cunt Monologues.
He didn't write it, he transcribed it. Your dad's so good. Your dad has a string on his back, and if you pull it, the noose tightens around his neck.
Your dad is a flat earther because all maps are flat. Explain that.
Globes. The globes.
Yeah, and he just sits there holding a globe being like, but the earth's not this small. It's way bigger than this. Mad.
I'm a small earther. I think the earth is small.
Well, I mean, it is. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely is.
Compared to other stuff.
Aye, compared to...
Most stuff.
Yeah, not compared to things on the earth, but outside of the earth. Fucking...
Is this like the podcast where I was like, you know what's in space? Mostly nothing.
Oh, I still can't get over. Just, space is mostly nothing. When you look at space, it's mostly fuck all.
Aye, but I thought there'd be stuff in it.
Then there would be a backdrop.
I like bits and bobs. Just like, you know how like the sky looks like there's no in it, but like you can't see that far because it gets dusty. Right,
End the podcast. We'll see you on Thursday's episode, kids.